How you doing, folks? Thanks for coming here today. I'm going to talk to you real quick about hunting whitetails in North America and the importance of doing so. Not only to provide a service to the poor who are starving and are hungry, that hunters do, that hunters provide by harvesting whitetails, but also a service to farmers whose crops are destroyed and overran by heavy populations of whitetails, but also to the deer themselves who, when their population gets so large and the numbers get so high in such a small area, they spread disease, they starve to death themselves in cold winters or freeze to death because they haven't had enough food over the summer months to survive. I'm also going to talk about how God, in his own words, tells us that we need to hunt and we need to go out there and use what He's provided us with, whether that's the seed in the ground, to the fruits in the trees that He talks about in Genesis chapter 1, verses 29 through 30, and how He put the beasts and the animals and the fish on this land for us to take advantage of and for us to use. Also in Genesis chapter 27, verse 3, God tells us to take up our bows, take up our arrows, and go out and hunt these animals, that He put them here for us to do so. As for my credibility for speaking here today, not only have I spent a lot of time out in the woods myself hunting and managing my own deer herds on my own property, I'm also a founding member of Western New York Whitetails and the founding member of the DHC of Western New York. That's an organization that I set up to inform young hunters of the importance of hunting properly, hunting ethically, keeping the population of your animals down to a healthy number on your property so that it not only provides you healthy deer to hunt and to consume, but it also provides the proper nutrition, the proper surroundings for the deer themselves. First I'm going to get started with the history of hunting whitetails in North America. When the early settlers came and they founded this country, they relied greatly on the large herd numbers of whitetails to survive the cold winter months, whether that be with their meat or their fur that they used for blankets and cover and clothing. But it also gave them items to trade with the Indians to receive back corn or other seed for making breads and making whatever then they needed to survive. But they also traded the antlers and the bones for making weapons and everything like that. It was a great necessity for the early settlers. The other important thing, or another great aspect of hunting whitetails in North America, is the service that it does provide to the poor and to the hungry every year. Take the state of Wisconsin, for example. 638 tons of deer meat has been donated by hunters to the poor to feed them. And that's 638 tons in the last 16 years since they started the program. Or you take the state of New York, which is another great example of this. They provided 2.7 million meals to hungry families since 1999 alone. Every year, myself included, I donate my own venison to the programs in New York to feed the hungry. The other important part of hunting whitetails in North America is to control the population numbers of all these whitetails. R.K. Schwiener, a public involvement science manager at Cornell University, talks about the importance of keeping the numbers down and how in some areas there's up to 100 deer in 1 square mile. And this causes great concern for not only drivers on the roads with constant car accidents. I've got a photo here real quick to show you of an example of the kind of destruction that it causes. Not only is that, one second please. Not only is that devastating to the thousands of people that hit deer every year, but as you can see from the photo, that's no way for an animal to leave this earth that God provided for us. My other photo here I'd like to show you is just what I'm talking about for overpopulation of deer. You can see here it's way too many deer for such a small area, and there's no way that many deer can survive healthy and properly on the nutrients that are in their habitat currently. Mark Kenyon, sorry, Mark Kenyon of Wired to Hunt. He's also a pro staffer at bowhunting.com and Quality Deer Management Association. He's a certified deer steward. He talks about the amount of food that it takes one healthy deer to consume a year, and that's 3,000 pounds a year of food. Just to put that in perspective, the average human only consumes 1,500 pounds of food in a given year in order to be healthy. So, a couple other things I just want to show of the type of food that whitetails eat is obviously your average corn. This is an example. I mean, we've all eaten corn on the cob before. We've all eaten kernels of corn. Imagine how many kernels of corn and how much corn you have to eat to equal 3,000 pounds in a year. But I'm hoping that I have shown here today a little glimpse into the importance of hunting whitetails in North America and the importance of doing so and why it's important for not only us as humans and not only for the animals themselves, but also to following God's word, which we all do every day in our daily lives. So, you know, this is also another aspect where we need to do that. And a couple scriptures I want to end with that God has also provided us with as evidence is Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. Sorry, I can't remember it offhand. I'm just going to look real quick. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's where God gave us dominion over all the animals. He says He gave us dominion over all the animals, all the fish and all the birds for us to consume and for us to have and use, and to also do that properly. And the last one is Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17, where God says that I'll paraphrase it, he who cares for the poor. I'm not going to paraphrase. Sorry. He who's kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and He will reward them for what they've done. And again, that's Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17. And I'd like to thank you today for giving me a few minutes of your time to talk about this matter and to discuss it. And I hope that it's informed you more of what you knew before I spoke. And thank you again. And right now, I'd just like to show you my guests that were here today as I spoke.